Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video we've got some breaking news fresh off of the December 2022 solicitations that Marvel.com just announced, and I'm talking about the Dark Web event in this video. We've got a bunch of the new tie-ins announced and a few covers revealed, and basically now we have the entire checklist all the way up till February for the entire event. It's going to be starting in November with an alpha issue. There's like an Amazing Spider-Man issue that's kind of a prelude at reintroducing the character Chasm, Ben Reilly, and I think also a Venom prelude issue, but now we actually have the checklist for the main event itself, and we've got a lot of tie-ins rolling out for this. So in case you're not aware yet, Dark Web is this new Spider-Man event that's going to be starting in November with some prelude issues, and then actually starting in December with the main event. And it's going to be a crossover between Amazing Spider-Man with tie-ins from the Amazing Spider-Man series, the X-Men, and Venom, and Ms. Marvel apparently. So we've got a bunch of tie-ins announced here, and I'm going to go over all of them in this video. So let's get right into it here with Dark Web number 1, and it says in parentheses here Dusk. So they've got like two different Dark Web number 1s, I guess, after the initial alpha issue that kicks everything off. It's going to be written by Zeb Wells, who writes the ongoing Amazing Spider-Man series, and the art is going to be by Adam Kubert on the main issues. So there are still like Amazing Spider-Man tie-ins, which we'll get to in a second. But let's get right into these tie-ins here. We've got the first two Amazing Spider-Man tie-ins announced here. And these are covers by John Romita Jr. This is for issues 16 and 17, I'm pretty sure, of Amazing Spider-Man. And we see him battling Venom on one side, and then on the other side, we see a battle happening between Peter Parker and Ben Reilly. So Ben Reilly, after his whole Amazing Spider-Man Beyond stint, after that, he was left with his mind kind of in shambles. He had forgotten a lot about what happened with him being hired by the Beyond Corporation. And now he's become this dark version of himself called Chasm. We don't really know too much about that yet, but that prelude issue, I think it's number 14 of Amazing Spider-Man, has promised to give us a little bit more info on Chasm and get us up to date on him. He's going to be teaming up with Madeline Pryor, who's an X-Men villain that I don't know too much about. I know she's a clone of Jean Grey, and she has connections to the Limbo dimension. So now we've gotten a little more info about this event from the descriptions of these tie-ins. We know that the villains, or just like the henchmen basically, of this event are going to be demons from Limbo. There's always some sort of like army that's attacking New York City and the world that's kind of the backbone behind the different tie-ins happening for different events. But next up, we're going to talk about the X-Men. Luckily, no actual tie-ins from X-Men ongoing series. You guys know how Judgment Day is going on right now. They're tying in like every single X-Men series for some reason. But although Dark Web is also directly involving the X-Men because of Madeline Pryor, they're only doing a 3-issue X-Men miniseries written by Jerry Duggan, who writes the ongoing X-Men series. So this might be a good one to get if you're also grabbing that series. And the art is by Rod Reese, so pretty great creative team on that. We've got a cover for issue number 1 here, and then we've also got a cover for number 2 with just some of the members of the X-Men team featured here. If you're into X-Men, you have any idea how Madeline Pryor is going to get involved here, let me know what you know down in the comment section below. I know she had something to do with that Hellions run that Zeb Wells also wrote, so like if she was left on some sort of like plot or like thread or something at the end of that run that would kind of lead into Dark Web. I'm curious to know how that's going to lead into it, if it does at all, in the comment section. But we also have another tie-in miniseries. It's only going to be 2 issues. This is Dark Web Ms. Marvel number 1. This is a new creative team. They're trying to put out some more Ms. Marvel stuff. She's in kind of a weird spot right now because she hasn't had an ongoing series in a while. They've just been doing mini-series and things like that. But if you're into Ms. Marvel, this is definitely a must pick up. And we've got a cover there by Marco Cucchetto, which is pretty cool. We also do have Venom tie-ins rolling out, though. He's supposed to have, I think, 3 or 4 tie-ins based on the checklist to the event that we have. And this Venom cover is pretty much identical to that Amazing Spider-Man cover, where we see Spidey battling Venom there with a Brian Hitch cover because he's drawing the series. So who knows how Venom's going to get involved? I'm not grabbing that right now, but if that's also leading into Dark Web, let me know about that in the comment section down below. Clearly, I'm not that prepared to get into this event because I've only been getting Amazing Spider-Man. But a different tie-in that I talked about in a different video that I made about Dark Web that you can check out if you want to know about like those prelude issues is Gold Goblin. There's this new Gold Goblin 5-issue, I think, miniseries featuring Norman Osborn. He's got like a new glider. He's in this weird gold suit that barely looks Goblin-like at all. He's taken a good turn. His sins were cleansed in Amazing Spider-Man, so he's got his own whole storyline going on. And we've got Christopher Cantwell writing a Gold Goblin miniseries. But you can see in the background of all these covers, there's like those wires, right? I don't know if all of these connect with each other or if they don't. But it seems like all the main tie-ins have this same pattern. So maybe they'll end up connecting in some cool way in the end. But let's move on here. We got to get through all these tie-ins. We've also got a Mary Jane and Black Cat miniseries tie-in to Dark Web. This was announced a couple weeks ago. A lot of you guys probably already saw this news, so I'll breeze through this really quickly. But we do have Jed MacKay coming back on to write this. This is supposed to be, I think, a 5-issue miniseries. Only the first 2 or 3 are actually tying into Dark Web, so maybe it'll continue on afterwards and have its own little storyline that's not tied into the event. But yeah, Jed MacKay wrote that Mary Jane and Black Cat one-shot for Beyond, so this is tying in, well, I guess with that, but also just continuing the story. I'm looking forward to this. This is one of the tie-ins I do plan on getting, because that one-shot was really good. So that's pretty much all the announcements that we have so far. We've got Venom involved, X-Men, Ms. Marvel, and Amazing Spider-Man. Pretty much those 4 teams and characters teaming up here. Let's take a last look at the checklist here. You just have to make sure to get the alpha issue, I guess, to get started. And then the main issues of the event are Dark Web #1 Dusk, and Dark Web Finale #1 Dawn, which is happening in February. Not too big of an event, honestly. Like, this would be pretty easy to get all of the tie-ins for it if you really wanted to. It could have been a lot bigger, so I'm glad they're keeping it fairly small. Looking forward to the Amazing Spider-Man tie-ins. I'm also planning on getting the Mary Jane and Black Cat tie-in series, because Jed MacKay does such a good job with both of those characters. And of course the main event itself. Not planning on getting any others, but I'm really curious to know what you guys are thinking, what you're planning on grabbing for the Dark Web event, if you're planning on grabbing it at all, down in the comment section below. And also fill me in on that Madeline Pryor knowledge, in case you've been reading any of the stuff with her in it also, because I'm curious to know a little bit more about that before the run actually starts. That's about it for this video, though. I appreciate you guys watching all the way till the end of the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.